Week 10 notes, finding the greatest common factor. We call that the GCF as well. And in math, greatest means biggest. It does not mean best. Again, greatest means biggest. It does not mean best. To find the greatest common factor of two numbers, you ask yourself the following question, and please write this down. What's the biggest number that both of the numbers can be divided into? That is the greatest common factor. Again, what is the biggest number that both of the numbers can be divided into? That is the greatest common factor. We're going to do a few examples to show you, and I'll show you some things that may help you think about this a little bit. The first two numbers we're going to find the GCF of are 24 and 32. So write those down. And how are we going to think about this? First, take the smaller number and ask yourself, what are all the numbers I can multiply together to get 24? Well, I can multiply 1 and 24. Multiply those together. What else? How about 2 and 12? What else? How about 3 and 8? 4 and 6? Anything else? No. These, folks, are all factors of 24, meaning we can divide 24 by any one of them. What we need to do is think about factors of 24 and factors of 32. So let's do the same thing for 32. Of course, 1 and 32 are factors of 32. Take a moment and think of the other factors of 32. So I'm assuming you've tried. You have 2 and 16. You have 4 and 8. And then you also have, that's it, actually. I don't know why I thought there was more. But here are factors of 32, and then here are factors of 24. What we need to do now is try and identify what are called common factors. Common factors, meaning factors that are found in both 32 and 24. Let's go through. We have 1, that's a common factor. We have 2, that's a common factor found in both. How about 4? And how about 8? Okay, so we have 1, we have 2, we have 4, and we have 8. These are all common factors, numbers that I can divide both 24 and 32 by. Now, what is the greatest or the biggest out of all of these common factors? Clearly, it is 8. So 8 is the GCF, greatest common factor or biggest common factor. And we're done with that one. If you don't know your multiplication tables very well, this is going to be challenging for you. So it's just a reminder though, you need to know your multiplication tables. Let's try another one. 36 and 30. I'd encourage you to try this on your own before I do it. Okay. Again, take the smaller of the two numbers and then ask yourself, what are all the numbers I can multiply together to get 30? 1 times 30, 2 times 15. What else? 3 times 10. 5 times 6. Anything else? Nope. What about 36? Well, I got 1 and 36. And I have 2 and 18. Anything else? I got 3 and 12. Got 4 and 9. And I've got 6 and 6. This is where knowing your multiplication tables is really, really important. So again, folks, these are factors of 30. These are factors of 36, meaning we can divide 30 by any one of these numbers. We can divide 36 by any one of these numbers. Now we have to go through and ask ourselves again, what are the factors that 36 and 30 have in common? Let's find the ones that are the same. 1 and 1. 1 is always a common factor between any two numbers, but they're both even, so they have 2 as a common factor. They have 3 as a common factor. They have 6 as a common factor. What else here? Going through, I don't see any other common factors. So again, our common factors, I'll write this down. I won't write this down every time. Are 1, 2, 3, and 6. Clearly, the greatest one of all is, be consistent in the color, 6. So 6 is our greatest common factor. Okay. Something you can do is just take the smaller number and find all the factors like I did here, and then just go through and ask yourself, okay, can I divide 36 by 1, by 2, by 3, by 5? No, by 6? Yes. And then ask yourself all these numbers and then just pick the biggest one. Okay. 15 and 25. You don't have to do this method for all of these. Some of you know your multiplication tables really well, and you could just say what it is right away. But give this a shot. Well, some of you know right away that the answer is 5. But if you didn't know the answer is 5, you have to think about what you can multiply together to get the smaller one. 1 times 15, 3 times 5. Not so many factors for 15. For 25, I'm just going to use the same color. You have 1 and 25, of course. You have 5 and 5. This one was kind of easy to figure out because there weren't so many factors. But clearly our greatest common factor that is in both is 5. So the GCF is 5. And the last one, 23 and 17. Think about that for a second. Assuming you've given it a shot. The smaller one, 17. What are the factors of 17? I can multiply 1 times 17. But that's it, because 17 is a prime number. So I just have to ask myself, can I divide 23 by 1? Yes. By 17? No. So that must mean that 1 is our GCF. When you have two prime numbers, 1 is always your GCF. And we're done.